The rain was the same as always, steady, cold, and mean, beating down on the asphalt of the big Tex truck stop outside Lubbock. Neon from the diner sign bled across the puddles in pink and blue streaks. Hannah Hazel Ramirez pulled her denim jacket tighter around her shoulders and kept walking the rows of idling semis, boots clicking. She hated the rain. It made everything slower and the men meaner. 3 hours out here and she'd only turned one quick date. Her stomach was growling louder than the diesel engines. Then she saw him, big red Peterbilt with chrome stacks. Clean rig. The driver was standing outside smoking, sleeves rolled up despite the chill, revealing tattoos that looked like they told actual stories instead of just jailhouse regrets. He wasn't old, wasn't young, maybe early 40s. Strong jaw, tired eyes, the kind of quiet that made some girls nervous and others curious. Hazel put on her working smile and approached. "Hey, handsome, you look like you could use some company on a shitty night like this." The man looked at her, really looked, not the usual up and down scan. "I'm good, darling, just stretching my legs." Most girls would have moved on. Hazel didn't. Something in his voice sounded lonely in the same key as hers. "Coffee then?" she asked softer. "I'm buying. Looks like you've been driving longer than God's been good." He gave a small laugh, surprised. "Name's Caleb." "Hazel." They ended up in the diner booth instead of his sleeper cab. He ordered steak and eggs. She ordered pancakes and stole his fries when he wasn't looking. They talked for 2 hours, about nothing and everything. He told her about losing his little brother in Afghanistan. She told him about running away from her stepdad at 16 and how the road had been her only home since. Neither of them mentioned what she did for money. When the rain finally stopped, Caleb slid $40 across the table. "Not for that," he said quickly when he saw her expression change. "Just so you don't have to walk the lot anymore tonight." Hazel stared at the money like it might bite her. "I don't do charity, Caleb." "Ain't charity, call it a rain check." He left his number on a napkin. 3 weeks later he came back through Lubbock. Then again, 2 weeks after that. Each time they met in the diner. No sleeper cab, no transaction. Just food, bad coffee, and conversation that stretched longer every visit. He brought her a little cactus in a pot because she said her motel room was depressing. She started keeping mints in her purse because she noticed he liked them after meals. One night in early October, after he'd been gone for 17 days hauling produce out to California, Hazel was working the lot when his Peterbilt rolled in. She felt her chest do something stupid. This time, when he asked if she wanted to sit in the truck and talk instead of the diner, she said yes. They didn't have sex that night. They sat in the sleeper, listening to old country on low, and Caleb asked the question she'd been dreading. "Why do you do this, Hazel?" She looked out the window at the other trucks. "Because I'm good at it, because it pays better than Walmart, because the road eats girls like me and this way I get to bite back a little." He was quiet for a long time. "I don't want to change you," he finally said. "But I also don't want to share you with every man who pulls in here with $40 and bad intentions." Hazel laughed, but it cracked in the middle. "Lot lizards don't fall in love, Caleb. We fall into beds, and then we fall into new towns. That's the deal." "Yeah?" He reached over and brushed a strand of dark hair behind her ear. "Well, I'm a trucker. We don't fall in love either. We fall in love with the next horizon. Guess we're both bad at following the rules." It wasn't easy. Some nights she still worked when he was gone for weeks at a time. The money was real and freedom was expensive. Caleb never asked her to stop, but she saw the way his jaw tightened when she smelled like another man's cologne. She started turning down more dates. He started routing through Lubbock every chance he got, even if it cost him money. One brutal night in January, a trucker got rough with her in his cab, split her lip, left bruises. She walked to Caleb's truck shaking, blood on her shirt. He didn't say a word, just cleaned her up, wrapped her in his blanket, and held her while she cried for the first time in 6 years. "I'm tired, Caleb," she whispered against his chest. "Then get in the truck," he said. "Not as a passenger, as my girl. We'll figure the rest out." 6 months later, they were somewhere outside Amarillo at 2 a.m., parked at another anonymous truck stop. Hazel had a new tattoo on her wrist now, a tiny green cactus. Caleb had her name inked small on his ribs, right over his heart. She still turned the occasional trick when money got tight or the old restlessness bit her too hard. He still drove long hauls that kept him away for weeks, but every time he came back, she was waiting, not on the lot, but in the diner with 2 coffees and a stolen order of fries. One night she climbed into his cab, curled up against him and said, "I think I'm done fighting it." "Fighting what?" he asked, voice rough with sleep. "Being in love with a man who's always leaving, and him loving a girl who used to sell herself in parking lots." Caleb smiled in the dark and pulled her closer. "Lot lizards don't fall in love," he whispered, echoing her words from months ago. Hazel kissed the tattoo with his name on it. "This one did?" Outside, the big rigs rumbled and the neon lights flickered. Another generation of girls walked the rows. Another generation of drivers looked for comfort in the dark. But in that red Peterbilt with the clean chrome stacks, 2 people the road had tried to break found something it couldn't take away. Real love, messy, complicated, real. And for truckers and lot lizards, that was the rarest load of all.